Okay, we'll call this Ad Hoc Fireworks Committee meeting to order, 4 o'clock on October 20th. Let's just go around and say your names again.
Sadie Mercer.
Keith Chandler.
Nancy Holmes.
Justin Parker.
Genesee Dennis.
Guy Knight.
And Steve Wright. I sent out a recap of the last meeting and put together just a kind of a summary. And then a couple of the committee members put notes on as to what they thought came out of the meeting and some things that we could look into. Hopefully you all read that. I don't really want to go over them again until it's time for us to figure out where we go now. I had one thing I was supposed to do, and that was I was going to the League of Oregon Cities, and I was going to talk to mayors. And I managed to talk to one about fireworks. I talked to a lot of others about other things. The one I talked to was mayor of Lincoln City. Lincoln City decided this last year to do a drone show instead of city fireworks. And they had challenges. It was shorter than they expected, it was more expensive than they expected, and it just wasn't quite as nice. This is all the mayor's opinion. They have not had an official meeting. The Spencer Kyle has joined us. Just again, this is the mayor's opinion. Many were just disappointed with, especially with viewing angles and the length of the show. They had planned on it to be something like 15 minutes, and it was less than 12. And for the cost, they thought that was just not fair. The biggest thing Mayor Walke noticed was the illegal fireworks started up just as soon as the drone show was over. And her opinion was, particularly in the north end, it looked like the worst they'd ever seen as far as a number of illegal fireworks.
The largest display.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's
And
on
she didn't know, she kind of heard that it was because it was in opposition to doing a drone show. Again, you know, who knows? So if I hear more from them about it, I'll let you know at a future meeting.
Have they done anything to try to prohibit illegal fireworks?
Not really, no.
So they didn't change that policy at all?
No.
They just went with the
They
drone?
tried to focus on just seeing what a drone show would do.
So we're talking about Lincoln City?
That was Lincoln City.
Okay. So check your sources. I don't mean you, I mean in general, because I've had it reported back to me that from those who would like to get rid of the fireworks, that they've been able to solve all the problems in the world. There's no problems of illegal fireworks anymore in Lincoln, so we should be more like Lincoln.
This was direct from the mayor.
So was the show to the north out of the city limits of Lincoln City?
She didn't imply that it was, no. This would have been in the area of the casino. And I'm assuming that's in the city limits. Any other comments? Anybody else? Genesee, you did some research with AI and came up with some questions.
Yeah, I just basically,
You know, we've always got to kind of confirm those and make sure they're really true, but it looks like, you know, across the state, it's across the board.
yeah, it says it's, I don't know statute, I don't know the lingo, but basically the fine was, the max would be $2,500. So then I was unsure how Cannon Beach was doing 5,000.
My thought is it's likely because the Oregon Revised Statute, where it falls in line under the state, has a cap based off what level of misdemeanor it is or violation, so it's capped on that. I believe Cannon Beach likely passed an ordinance to set their fine. So they did it in under city code, not state code,
I believe that's
which,
the case.
which will let them dictate.
And it can be higher than state code.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because I think their court only hears like city violations. I don't think they do anything criminal.
Yes, sir. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Is that the same thing here then? That would be the same thing?
We do have a city ordinance we go use. That's that $700 fine, which is what our current
Okay.
ordinance is. Versus, we can use the state ORS or revised statute on those cases that turn criminal. We use those more for those reckless, kind of those case by case basis. But that is available, and that's stuck on the state, whatever the standard is for the set fine amount. And
Okay,
yeah, so
okay, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
So if we wanted to do more, we would have to pass an ordinance. If we wanted to do a higher fine, we could if we passed the city ordinance.
Yeah. I think the trick, and I think we were talking about this last time, is going to be, how do we ensure that that fine is, passed on and where because the judge has discretion to waive that. And so, there's a couple avenues there that the council could consider. I do think, in all my experiences, you can do all the public education you want, but until it hits people in the pocketbooks, you're not gonna change behavior.
Does Gearhart have those fines?
I don't think they have them like, they have fines, I don't think they have it like Cannon Beaches though.
I don't know what theirs is, but yeah.
But do you know if they enforce those on the beach?
I don't believe so.
Okay, not that I've seen.
I think they could, but they only have 3 officers, so.
They're worried about the backyards, I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't have an agreement with them like we do with the city of Seaside and city of Cannon Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything happening on the beach, I mean, do they even go out there, or would they just call the sheriff?
So they'd still be able to cite under statutes,
Mhm.
their normal authority if they chose to, and their normal, I guess, routing process for those citations. It's my understanding, and they just can't use the state park rules, but they could see if the corp took it, but technically they don't have that. And our orders to leave from the beach too.
I just wonder if it's gonna shuffle people just directly up to Gearhart.
Unfortunately, I think people are going to continue to buy illegal fireworks, and the only thing we can control is whether or not they do them in Seaside. And so if we shut it down, I don't think the same people are gonna be coming back to Seaside just without fireworks, or maybe some of that. I think likely those who, especially those who are spending a ton of money on illegal fireworks, they will go elsewhere. So whether it's Gearhart, other parts of, between Gearhart and Warrenton, on the beach or other locations, or just elsewhere on the coast. That's the likely outcome.
Will they go perhaps to county-owned beach? Isn't like Sunset?
I think everything between.
Sunset is county patrol or
And state, because it's a state highway.
and one state too, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then, I mean, pretty much if they go to Gearhart, that's who would be enforcing it if there were any enforcement.
I
That's
remember-
close enough, they still might stay in Seaside and go there, you just never know, that's,
Yeah.
because of the hotel availability. So,
Stay in Seaside, do your legal fireworks in Gearhart.
let's not.
All in favor?
Still get the fireworks show.
Oh, and just make sure our residents can't hear it, so.
We do get complaints from the state, from Surf Pines area residents, north of Gerhart, all the way up, through the residential zone up there. So it's not a unique.
I'm shocked that those people are. Sorry, I was gonna make a joke about being high maintenance, but
How do you really feel about it?
so my neighbors.
Strong feelings.
So finding folks, so the last time we talked, it was like the main focus was getting them off the beach, but knowing that that was going to then drive them into town. and that in town is almost impossible to catch them because you have to catch them in the act. So are we kind of still working in that direction, working under that assumption that our goal is to get them off the beach, but knowing that we won't be able to get them in town?
Well, I think
Just find those that we can, or?
I would say a bulk majority of our issues are not residents, not people that are staying at houses. They're
Day trippers?
Day trippers, they're coming to the beach specifically for that. And many of them don't have a plan. They either try to stay on the beach or, so I think I don't think we'll push them so much into the city. I'm sure we will see an increase, but I think a lot of them happen to be just that day trip on the beach, not at a hotel, not at a house. So, and if less impact on our resources are on the beach, it does free us up for a couple extra people to try to catch them in the neighborhoods. But you're right, you almost have to find that person that's just setting them off continuously and then get to them, and which I had a couple. So yeah.
Would you have the ability to check people going down to the beach with them? Is that
If we
even
can,
feasible?
if we can see them, visibly see them, then I can just seize them, but I can't just stop and search someone just based off without any kind of reasonable suspicion that they might have illegal fireworks or.
You can, when they're hauling their stuff down to the beach, you can usually see them.
Correct.
No.
But let's say they put
Until
them
they
in.
learn to conceal them, so.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that cooler may not have watermelon in it, you know.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, or that cart, the baby blanket and everything.
Yeah.
May not contain the toys for the sand.
Well, baby's a firecracker.
So, and that's why the idea of having some kind of event with an event permit that would restrict access, free to enter, however you're subject to search, just like Hood to Coast or some other event that is the beach. Now, logistically, that it might be more than resources available,
Yeah.
but that was where that kind of idea came up, searching before you came in to enter in the event area. But that opens up a lot of
Even the threat of that, even the idea of having stations with it, or they have to go through metal detector, that would
I
certainly.
don't think we're getting like metal detector.
No, it'd
Yeah.
be literally be
Yeah.
like
But
event staff,
a search-
like you go to a park and they check your bags real quick, make sure you're not bringing in glass
I
bottles.
think they'd go, to another beach, but
Possibly.
that's not helping us get any families
Right.
enjoy the.
Well, I think part of this, you have to look at this as a multi-year approach. There is going to be a transition time of those people are here hardcore for the big fireworks that they bring. Oh, it's going to take a couple of years till all of them making other plans, until other people are more comfortable coming who don't like those things. And there may be some people, people that one of the reasons to come here is for all the extra fireworks, not, I'd say most people like fireworks. Some really don't like it, and some don't like it at the wrong times and locations, but can't forget that there probably is a big crowd that comes for the whole thing, the whole package.
Now, personally, I've always hated fireworks, any of them. They're stupid. But you're gonna get a lot of people that say Seaside takes away my constitutional right to blow things up to celebrate my country. You're gonna get that. So.
They're welcome to exercise their right with the safe fireworks that are available in the state. of
I
Oregon.
agree with you. I agree.
The little dinky ones
This is
that
why the term illegal
Yeah.
is there. But you're still, there's a chance of that image of Seaside being the town that doesn't like America being out there because we want people to comply with the law. So
I do think there's ways to market it that, we're all in on Independence Day,
Absolutely.
but just doing it the right way.
It's just, and overall, it's an extreme safety issue I know you,
Yeah.
but to tell you that.
Devil's advocate here.
Oh, absolutely, but problem is it's not structured, it's not done by people who know what they're doing. There's usually some kind of intoxicant involved, and
There's a reason they're
Yeah.
illegal.
And it's other families who are trying to partake and enjoy it, and it's, it definitely puts a hamper on them, and when they don't feel safe enough to even be down there, so,
But we only had one injury in 4 years.
yeah, reported.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, somebody that had to be taken to the hospital. So,
Well, I can tell you, I think it was probably 5 years ago, I had a subject throwing the mortar shells into people's campfires that were just enjoying the fire, and they were exploding up in families' faces that we ended up arresting. Had to chase him down, but yeah, it was a few pounds ago, yeah. So, but that was extremely dangerous, and absolutely, and that was those times you use the criminal offense and reckless endangering another person, so.
I know over the years, I've heard so many people with this sentiment, just like you were talking about, the whole experience of being on a seaside beach. It isn't just about the 18 minutes of fireworks that are sanctioned. Like it is about the experience overall. And so in a positive way. And I've also heard the reverse, where people are like, I don't bring my family down onto the beach. No way. I stay up in the neighborhoods. I stay up on the prom. Like I'm not headed to the beach. So I've heard both. From a lot of folks. So I think, would it be an option, because we're shifting the sanctioned fireworks south and we're going to have that larger beach area, could it be that is the start of the safer zone on the beach? So where we're starting to bag check that larger area of the sand and then start moving it outwards for checks. Could that be an option for the first year?
So I have got a comment about the bag search deal. I think as somebody representing state parks, I would say that'd be I'm not aware of a similar special use permit for the hundreds of those that our region office issues. It's got to be close to 700-800 a year or something like that. Maybe it's a little high. I've never known of a mandatory search criteria to enter into an event space before on that. So I got on my homework list to maybe, I'd probably have to check with my boss and then maybe the DOJ with the state to see if we could have that as a condition that people have to submit to a search. I have talked to our state law enforcement partners, and they've informed me that it's not something they would do due to the probable cause. It was already mentioned by Lieutenant Knight. And so I think that I can get an answer from that. I guess what that might mean is if we say we can't permit that as part of the event, then it would have to be up in the city somewhere, some sort of a zone crossing the prom, or at the, I guess, to statutory vegetation line. Maybe you could be in some of the dune. You'd have to route through a trail or something. It's possible. I'll get that answer by our next meeting if I can. DOJ can take a little bit to pin down, but I'll try and get that for you guys on that. But other than that, I know we've been issuing the permits for years with no real problems in that sense. So.
Well, there's ticketed entries events, just like the Sand Fest. That's a ticketed entry event where you're only permitted when you go through. So it would kind of be similar. Just you have the option of going to other sections of sand within the same beach. You have the option to come into our space because that's what we're offering as the event, being a safe event. But otherwise, they do have the option. It's not like you can't be there and enjoying the beach, just not the sanctioned portion.
Right, and I think it would be splitting here. I agree with you 100%. Some of our folks who have a different constitutional view might create some issues during that time frame, but I think we should look into it so we know as part of the options that are on the menu. And I offer that as a spirit of cooperation, not a barrier.
Oh, it's best to bring it up here where we can absolutely.
So if we got pretty far down to the exclusion zone and trying to tell you we couldn't do the exclusion or the permit issuer couldn't do them, I don't want to give you bad info.
So absolutely.
I'd like to ask, is Cannon Beach, I know some of that is National Wildlife Refuge and so forth and so on, but is that beach also state?
Yes. From the statutory vegetation line west.
Aren't all beaches in Oregon State? Yeah.
Oh, ocean beaches, not the river beach at Fort Stevens, which is where a lot of people go to celebrate freedom.
Okay.
The park rules apply there, not ocean shore rules, and so it's less of a fine.
I just wondered if anybody has really hated Cannon Beach over the years for their not allowing fireworks, or if they've had any problems. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, they're pretty much, that's a citywide ordinance, I think, that they did there.
Well, that's why I just asked about.
And so the state signed off on that too, for the whole beach.
We didn't have any role in their municipal court ordinance.
Okay.
We weren't involved in that. They're citing someone into the municipal court. That's between them and the support there. I don't think we can prevent them from signing that, that's their thing, but,
So that might be
It's
the
kind of
same
an
thing
anomaly.
here then?
well, right now, with the agreement the city has with the state, they could, based on resources, I'll put words in your mouth, LT, but if it rose to a level of officer time, they could write it now under the ordinance on the beach.
Absolutely.
Where, and it'd be seamless to the visitors from anything in the city, they could write, and anything on the beach.
Which we have. That's what we wrote under was the ordinance for this year.
Okay.
And our ocean shore violations, or park rules are just, they're not misdemeanors,
They're
they're
administrative rules.
administrative rules, and they're a violation, so it's like, what, $430 some, so it's not nearly the hammer that a misdemeanor or any other might have.
Okay.
Part of what I think will come to is saying, okay, what are we gonna do this year? You know, what is, a step in this direction, but is fairly easy to implement? Part of that's gonna be education. I mean, we've already talked about that. You know, what kind of information does the Visitor Bureau put out in what they're doing? You know, hopefully balancing against continuing to get people to come here, not just turn them off altogether. We kind of want the right people to come. I mean, not right people. But there's not that many of us. So, you know, as we go along here, I think that's what we gotta kind of keep in mind. What are we gonna focus on? Right now, these are just big picture ideas. But education obviously is a big part of it. And then one of the other steps is enforcement, you know, probably increasing the fine. Then there's other things that
Holding
come
accountable
into that.
after the fine, you're
Right.
correct, sir.
Yeah.
I think back to spring break and when I was in high school, I know it was a long time ago, but spring break was pretty eventful here in Seaside. And after a 99 big incident, you know, I look at how many, obviously resources were brought in for the week. It's obviously not 4th of July, but, and then kind of that less tolerant stance has transformed spring break over the years. It's taken quite a while, but I look at that as kind of like maybe a goal to achieve, because now it seems more family oriented, vacation style, which I think is the goal ultimately of love the celebration of 4th of July, but you know, keep it safe. So that's kind of how I look at it, but it did take years to get there. So with a lot of resources.
It took 2 or 3 years of bringing the state troopers in to patrol the streets during spring break.
And outside agency, I remember I was a reserve in Astoria and I came and worked
Yeah.
spring break here as an Astoria
And,
reserve.
I mean, there were cops on every street corner. The kids just finally, they don't want to be here. And so the families took over again.
Yeah,
And the fights.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
There was a huge riot in 99.
Yeah.
So,
Just
It
fracas.
was, yeah.
But-
The fracas.
Fracas. I was downtown. It was
a fracas.
Yeah.
That's what we put.
Not quite as bad, but similar to the early 60s.
That was a riot.
Those were riots, yes.
So yeah, I was just, that came to my head when we're talking about, you know, kind of approach to this with timeframes. That was something that came to my mind because that was a big event. There was a lot
Yeah.
of people. So
Do we want to go as far as to have a bunch of officers positioned on the prom to look at people going down to see if you can see anything? I mean, that's what sent the message for spring break. It was obvious that Seaside didn't want unchaperoned youths. So I don't know if that's something we want to start out with showing a major enforcement thing. I mean, it's not going to be a good press in a lot of ways, but it would send a message.
well, the hard part is the resource of not only the financial aspect, but it's also 4th of July.
Correct.
So as opposed to spring break, when people are like, oh, overtime, spring break? Oh, yeah.
And
4th of
they-
July,
And they were coming
Yeah.
in from other parts
Yeah.
of the state.
And I'll again request OSP's team to come and help us. But other than that, it's been hard to get
Yeah.
other agencies.
Well,
'cause
because every town has a 4th of July
Most, yes, sir.
celebration, they need them there.
Yeah. So.
So do we need marketing plan? Kind of a proposal for that?
For the,
Kind of the how, I guess I see it as two parts. There is a, how are we going, I guess not marketing, a communication plan, and I think there needs to be an enforcement plan.
yes, sir. I love the idea of educate early and, you know, just realistically, and maybe it's just my opinion based off my years, is most people know they're illegal. It's hard not to, right? We all,
Like,
since I was a kid, we always knew that these are illegal.
I think if instead of waiting until like, you know, the week before 4th of July, hey, we need to put some signage up, I think we say, okay, what signs would be effective?
Right.
And I think, you know, working with someone like Josh to come up with what would actually get someone's attention and cause them to think twice, as opposed to an informational, don't bring on illegal fireworks, but like, you know, a picture of someone sitting in a jail cell and say, do you want this to be you on the 4th of July? Don't bring fireworks. I mean, something like that, that's like.
Like if you ride the
like-
police car whenever you shoplift, that was the whole smear of the signs. And
I think it's
get
things,
it.
and have those throughout the city, and just make it real obvious that even if you showed up with a truckload of stuff, you're like, maybe I'm gonna go shoot them off
Yeah.
somewhere else.
And we'll see.
I think
some-
that will help, and I think it's just gonna be, keeping that up for several years is going to be what changes
Yeah.
the.
So can we afford any patrols on the beach?
We always do.
We
Yeah,
always
We
do.
always do.
But then we have to prioritize based off the types of calls for service that we
Yeah, for
have.
sure.
So so for instance, this year, we had, I believe, 4 vehicles roaming the city, myself included. I was looking specifically for firework offenses and then backing up officers. Every other man, we have 2-person teams, literally with fire, Avenue A first, trying to get all the way G to kind of just 2nd Avenue and get those entrances, or all the way, I think we actually went to the aquarium a couple times. Just trying to eliminate those going onto the beach and writing citations and seizing. And so we did that until it got pretty much to the fireworks show where it got super dark and hard to kind of see. And then we started responding to other nature, medical events, disturbances. So
Do you guys cruise the beach?
usually the fire has, they have a side-by-side that they drive up and down the beach and then help work with us. We pretty much stayed on the promenade and tried to grab them before they came onto the beach with the fireworks. And then if we saw someone set them off, we would try and go to them. So we kind of make an approach and then come back off. So
It's a huge task.
So what about putting up signs like in the dune or in the green space, right as people are entering in those? I mean, put up big 8-foot signs that just say, "We catch you, it's $5,000."
we actually do have signs on every point of entry.
Part of me is thinking like the novel part is the, you know, having some fun with it.
Yeah.
We have a budget shortfall, $5,000 fine for illegal fireworks.
Thanks for your contribution.
That will
Sim-
buy,
sim-
you know,
love
this
it.
for the
You know,
city.
with a QR code, submit picture and video evidence of other people doing it to get your bounty. I mean, obviously we can't do that, but I mean, we could have some fun with it to get people talking and make it really obvious.
This side-by-side bought by illegal fireworks. So
Yeah.
Pay for
But-
the sanctioned fireworks by forking over your illegal fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be easy to install signs now with those signs out on every access. I just don't know how long they'll stay up.
Well,
Yeah.
if you do some pre-education and.
Yeah, I just don't think we've
I
ever
think the people.
looked at it like, I think
A marketing campaign.
yeah, I think it's
Like
been
what
more
they-
like, I mean, I think we've done kind of the minimum and it hasn't been strategic or like with some ultimate goal.
Chief's really good about posting like the beach is closed. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. Did you hear that event?
Was that COVID?
Uh-huh. It was
That went over well,
it
right?
It did actually. It made national news like green eggs and ham. Like you, well, I want to play game. So, but yeah, that was. But that was effective. It was far-reaching.
Yeah.
For something so small. So you're right. The right
Oh, yeah.
messaging can be successful in preventing. Right. It's not going to fix it all, but
So in the messaging we were talking about, comms from the city, I wonder if Gerhard has also expressed quite a reluctance for the fireworks. I think some of their counselors are not, I don't speak for them, obviously, I'm a state guy, but I've heard concerns expressed to me that they would like the state to do more in Gerhard, close down the beach. They did mention they were maybe gonna close the access there at the 10th Street That was gonna be.
Did they do it?
That, they did not. Concerns were shared with emergency services and potential liability. I'm not at liberty to know what changed their mind, but I know that, some folks there have some concerns. So maybe more of a regional approach, with Gerhard and the city, if they wish. That's obviously their call, but I believe they share some concerns with Seaside in that issue. Maybe there's something there, maybe there's not.
If you make the access ramp so bad, they'll get stuck.
Go till it up or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
right before.
Well, the 10th Street's usually pretty tilled up.
Yeah, it is, but
It is
they don't
pretty rough.
maintain that in the summer, they don't want it to
Pretty
be
rough.
But, the other ones are, and I can't get out there.
It only takes one RV and courage to drive onto
Yes.
the beach, right?
Yeah.
Opioid is still working with the county for Delray and Sunset. We pay to help those be maintained. So
Yeah.
those are still,
Yeah, they're all maintained,
Stop maintaining them.
Yeah.
So we used to have a fireworks friendly zone where there were no fireworks. Is that still happening? It went from like Second Avenue A.
No, because it
Chief
was,
Gross put that in, and it worked really well. There were a lot of families down there because there were no fireworks. And
Right.
they enjoyed that. And so we're not doing that anymore.
our insurance company at the chamber said, don't even think about doing that, because if somebody brings in a firework and you've said firework-free zone, then we'll get sued. So
Okay.
our insurance company nixed that
So
forevermore.
the chamber didn't do it though, it was the city that did
The
it.
chamber.
The chamber on behalf of the city was
Yeah.
probably, because it's their event, right? So.
Yeah. That's why we
Yeah,
wanted to do the security.
I will listen to our city attorney when it comes to liability over an insurance person, but, it's not a city event, so.
Right. I don't know, I was, the messaging, but I think, again, the fines is, but the fines are there, but they have to be held accountable to them too, so. And like you said, when it hurts someone's pocketbook,
Judge.
yeah, that's where, and it's not so much, the word will get out, right? People start, oh, I got charged $5,000, like it's a lot of money. But yeah, so.
If I have a better example that would work, but you won't do it. Just have them set up all the fireworks they brought, ignite them all in their car.
I don't think the fire department would like that, to be honest.
Oh, the guys would love it.
Would they?
Practice.
They
I
would
don't know
love
if the
it.
attorneys will go for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mayor, where do you think the council is when it comes to working with the judge? What have you been kind of thinking?
Well, we've never done it before. We've always just let the judge be the judge.
Which is, when it comes to ruling, I think that's the intention,
Yeah.
but
But if there is something the judge is doing that goes against what the council thinks should be happening, or something the council is working on, then we should just at least have a conversation.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about that before, is that we probably should just set up a session to have a chat with the judge, just in general. And, this would be one of the topics. 'Cause
do you think
I
that's
wouldn't recognize the judge. I've seen her maybe once.
do you think
when
that's
we
a
hired her.
better work session, or is that more of a reports and presentation? I'd say let's just get something on the
It would
docket,
be
on the
less,
docket. No, that's
I
wrong.
think, yeah,
On the
less
schedule.
formal if it was a work session.
Okay.
She would feel less.
Yeah, I would say it'd be less
say
formal. Yeah,
Less threatened, but it would be less formal, yeah.
I think it would be helpful to
And we have new counselors
Yeah.
that, weren't here when we hired her, so.
it would be interesting just if we could put some topics together, almost like a mini agenda of some things that would
Sure.
be good to talk. So both she and the council go into it with having some sort of idea. So I can brainstorm, but if you want to kind of think about some of those, and then there's no reason we couldn't schedule it for one of our November meetings.
Okay,
So right now the fines are $750,
700.
$700, in order to go up to 5,000, that has to be an ordinance.
Well, that was just the number I think that Cannon Beach
Well,
has now,
I
yeah.
think if you pass that ordinance, that would make some noise in the press.
Mhm.
And people would, yeah, Seaside's
Especially if we
serious.
could get Gerhardt to pass it too,
Yeah,
make us all the same.
Yeah.
so is that something the council passed, it doesn't have to go to the vote?
No,
That's
It's
a
all
council
ordinance.
thing.
And it would be just updating the fine amount, correct?
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, we can look at some other cities' ordinances, see if there's something we're missing, but it seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Or
the one
like,
thing I
do we
saw-
need like a crossing municipal lines, like crossing state lines or
Right.
something? Or
Jurisdiction.
intent or an amount with the intent to distribute or something, you know.
Trafficking in fireworks.
Yeah, yeah.
But some of the things I did read about the judge and reducing fines, which is important, just going into the conversation, is that they should have the ability to reduce based on case. You know, like, did this one person get caught with one firework, or did they get caught with a couple $1,000s worth of firework? The ability to pay.
I wonder if some of that can also be built into the code, meaning the, so that it's not full discretion, there's some intent behind there. So it could be that we do a range of the fine. The fine is 3,000 to 5,000. Some of the factors that can be looked at are, and you know, the amount of fireworks, I don't know what the other ones
Second,
are.
Third offense.
I would request or just say that if we do that, I'd like to keep it just the same on the citation level. Like when it's $5,000 and the judge has that. This
Yeah.
is like a sentencing guideline they use in circuit court. Like if you've had this offense before, this is where you are. Kind of a grid. I like that idea, but I think keep it simple at the ground level, and then let them use the discretion to based off of what we choose as our sentencing guideline or that fine guideline as where it would fall. So.
Would you still want flexibility for you guys too, as far as
Well, I think that
choosing kind of a level?
right, like I brought up the case of a person shows up. Let's just say for some real weird reason they drove from wherever they really didn't know. They saw our signs. They walk up to us and said, "Hey, I came from this place. I didn't know these were illegal. Will you take them?" Then I think on those cases I would not write a citation to that person because they
Or
didn't
like,
set them
I'm
off.
so sorry, I'm super nice, yeah, I don't know.
You set them off. You saw all the signs.
Yeah, setting them off, but I
Yeah.
mean, or like just the walking up.
Yeah, no, I think
family
those people don't need-
oblivious.
Yeah.
But just especially the people that you can just see them, they're, launching them off. They got a ton, or they give you some attitude, especially.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you most people that we caught with them walking to the beach, we wrote them citations last year. It wasn't. We didn't. There was
Sorry about your luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you confiscated them?
Yep.
And what's the rule against, like, so you can possess them unless, or you can't possess them?
You cannot possess them.
It's
Possession
not
of
just
law
when
is
they're lit off.
correct. You can't even possess them.
Because they're illegal.
They're an explosive device under the statute.
Illegal in Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, also, if they're intoxicated, that would be thrown in there probably also with, no?
There's no intoxication isn't part of our mental state of that could be if let's say they're intoxicated, then they're doing something, you might be have a reckless endangering of another person or something like that just ties in with the overall behavior. But the actual intoxication and possession of something, there's no
I'm just
no
wondering if that's
enhancement
something
or
that
no.
The judge could take into consideration. I don't know how you
Yeah,
do that. Okay.
that would be 90% of them.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well, that's, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the base level. Yeah, it's kind of like the but.
Yeah.
The one thing that I have learned only about the length and depth of what the officers do have to go through every 4th of July, and that's only by going to a city council, hearing it at a city council meeting years ago, and also in this committee. I don't think most of the people living in this town or elsewhere know that somebody got their hand blown off.
Right.
And or they're coming in 90% intoxicated or anything else. So it's not only safety, but I don't think the people realize, you know, that is going on, and the effort that the city is going to, at least over these years, to keep the place safe.
Right.
The only thing I would say to that is,
No,
oh, sorry,
I don't wanna
finish
scare,
it.
I don't wanna scare them off, but they would be might be more helpful in the whole process that we're gonna try to do.
So what I was gonna say is, the reason this is coming up as something that the council wants us to address really has nothing to do with safety. It's the noise, it's the, it's really the noise and how it affects the community. And so I think that's where I would hit hard. I think the other thing is, you know, despite that we have had some bad injuries, all in all, it's really, on the safety side, hasn't been,
Correct.
you know, surprisingly very little has happened. So that's,
It's
so I think we're,
amazing to me.
so I think that's focusing on the wrong. I think a lot of people go to that, but the data doesn't back it up. That there really isn't a lot of issues with safety, and that's not the reason we're doing it. Because what we don't want is people to do it in a more safe manner. We want them to not do it here.
Could I just say that I liked all of your other ideas a lot at this meeting? I think focusing on wonderful, crazy educational signs, and maybe even get your safe fireworks ticket here. You know, you were saying something about tickets, but make it interesting and catchy. I really do.
Maybe if group's okay, I'll start working with our marketing people
I
and
think
see if we can
the humor's
come
great.
up with a fun plan that gets attention.
Yeah.
We're certainly not the only city that's dealing with this across the country, so they should be able to find out what other people have tried along the promotion and education side. And I agree, I mean, we want to keep it in our brand. You know, we don't want to chase people away.
The carrot, not the stick approach.
Seaside's for fun with not for fireworks not included, or you know,
Yeah.
something like that, or illegal fireworks not included.
So I've got three things. Talk about the promotion or education, whatever, through the visitor center. Start looking into what we can do with the ordinance itself. And I will get with the Cannon Beach mayor and the Gerhardt mayor, and just maybe we'll sit down and have a chat about it. I think it would be good if we could. We all just said we had the same rules. Now, the problem is Cannon Beach outlaws all fireworks, so that includes the kiddie fireworks, yeah. And I don't, from what I generally know, Seaside's not going that direction. But illegal fireworks, $5,000 or whatever, I think that could be, and I assume Gerhardt would go along with that. But you'd never know.
Right.
And then the council will set up a time to meet with the judge. And that will be one of the topics. Won't hit her over the head with it.
Does anyone think an ordinance making it a $5,000 fine is too much?
It's inflation.
It's a lot. Spencer's idea, okay, $5,000, that buys a new park bench or whatever.
I was just thinking, what is that? Cannon Beaches is 5?
Well,
I think that's where it came
what
out.
we think it is,
Like,
yeah.
we believe Cannon Beach is 5. That's why that number came out. I agree with you. I think it's a little extreme, but I mean, sometimes you have to have extreme measures to solve a problem.
That's if I remember right, what Jen looked at, that was kind of like the top level. It started lower.
Yeah, up to 5,000.
Yeah.
Which that's why I like that.
I think, you know, if you're used sparklers, wasn't it like $1,000 or something?
Yeah, well, yeah, ground ground fountains, that stuff like that was $1,000, and then $100 for snappers and little.
Really?
Yeah, sparklers. Yeah, that's the tier. Yeah.
How long does it take you to check somebody out?
I like the approach of like.
Even the
But
cap
most
gun
events
things?
are this,
Well,
right?
you heard about the first year, right? The first year, they put it was $5,000, and they had to write a ticket for a little girl who had a sparkler for $5,000. You heard about that.
I bet they didn't come back.
Yeah, everybody was kind of upset about
That's
that.
that is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what percentage of the folks out on the beach do you think have illegal fireworks and are lighting them off? Just a guess.
People are like, yeah, groups, I guess, maybe.
Sure. People that know that there are illegal fireworks within their group
I haven't.
and therefore,
I don't know. At least half. I was gonna say
Half?
higher.
I was gonna
half of the
say,
people
I was
on the
gonna
beach
say
would have
conservatively
fireworks.
60.
I was
Guaranteed.
thinking half. That's where I believe it's probably a little more, but half is probably.
There are a lot of families that have them too. It's not just drunk kids.
Nope.
Right.
A lot of families, that's their thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so with my Chamber of Commerce hat on, I think that we need to take a more cautious approach because 50% of the people attending then decide not to attend, not to come to Seaside. I mean, that's bad for business.
Well,
I get that, but I would-
but I'd say 95% of the people on the beach are here for one day. They're not staying in Seaside. They're not adding to the economy. They're bringing their own food. They're not spending money in Seaside that weekend.
Well, I don't even
we
think
have
about.
1,300 hotel rooms. I don't know how many people that equates to, but all the hotels are full. So
I would
mean,
say
that's-
all the hotels tend to be full every weekend. I would say that if we eliminate the 50% that are causing problems, that opens an opportunity for 50% of more people that want to just enjoy the actual
Exactly.
event. Same with spring break. We got rid of the spring break issue, but guess what? We're still full. We still have people coming. It's just a different type of person coming as far as wanting to actually enjoy the beach, watch the main show, have the barbecue, drink a few beers or whatever, or sodas, but as a family event versus the chaos. So there's people that love the chaos and they come for it. But I think it's an opportunity for others to also come enjoy that. Frankly, say, I will not go down there.
But the 50% loss, don't think that it doesn't mean something
Oh,
for
it
the
does.
businesses too.
It does,
'cause
but I
that
think
it does.
we open
Even if they're
opportunity
day
for more.
trippers, right? Because I mean, they're still buying gas, they're still buying groceries. That's why Safeway and Grocery Outlet are zoo those days because of those folks. So
I understand
they
that.
still-
Well, talk to businesses in Cannon Beach and see if it hurt their business.
Good point.
I don't think it did.
Cannon Beach is a slightly different animal
It
than
is now,
Seaside.
but they used to set fireworks off there.
Well, I know, but
I'm just
for
I'm just
business
saying,
wise though,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
you're not gonna have empty motel rooms on the 4th of July, no matter what you do.
Because I think we put on a
Unless
very
there's
good
a
show
No,
that,
it's not just the hotel rooms though, right? I mean, say that 100% of those folks were day trippers. They're still in town spending money. They
They'll still be here.
They still get here early in the day and leave late at night and spend money in the in-between.
They'll do it legally. They
You
won't
think
bring
the
in
same
illegal
people
things.
will?
Yeah, I don't think you might have a little drop, but no, I wouldn't worry about it.
it'd be
It's like-
interesting to see if anybody else has dealt with that, like Lincoln City, what did they see? Obviously, someone with similar demographic and dynamic of our tourism, see what they dealt with, because obviously we're not reinventing the
Most-
I
wheel.
almost don't know that you can compare Lincoln City because of how stretched
thinking
out
similar.
it is. Yeah, no, I know, but because it's a coastal community too, right? But because of how stretched out it is, I just don't know that it's the same model for commerce
Yeah.
that Seaside is, if that makes any sense.
Who else has a big fireworks show? Because Lincoln City got rid of theirs.
Does Florence?
Rockaway, still not very,
Does Newport?
Astoria shoots them off the water.
Yachts, maybe too.
I was thinking Long Beach too, I don't know if theirs is.
Manzanita still?
Like so.
Manzanita. I think fireworks are kind of going away.
I think Florence does still, right?
Very likely. And that's pretty spread out city. It's
Your
pretty good.
homework. It's
Yeah.
Just see if you can get in touch with a few coastal towns. I would try, I don't know if Coos Bay does one. Florence. I know Toledo does, but that's kind of a unique situation. And they evidently have no problem with illegal fireworks. They're also a almost completely wooded town, so kind of makes sense.
I think that's
Don't
part
wanna
of
start.
Cannon Beaches is, I think they have, in my mind, greater proximity to, forests and stuff like that.
I'm always surprised that we don't get more beach grass fires.
We've had them.
Every year,
Yeah, we've had
We've
them.
managed to get them out quick.
Yeah.
But that's always an obvious issue, I think.
Yes, sir.
And I've had a couple of citizens say, why don't we let fireworks go off?
Florence does, but it's not on the ocean.
Oh, really? It's like over,
It's on the river.
over the river. Okay. Well,
Well, that's
Let's-
the
let's-
city one, that's not, you're talking the illegal ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
The city fireworks aren't gonna cause any problems.
Yeah.
I'll still see if I can have a chat with some of the other mayors.
Yeah, I was just throwing it out there because as far as beach fireworks shows along the coast, there's not a lot of options. So, people are still gonna come even though they might not be able to light off fireworks. So,
Okay? All right, anything else? You can always email any of us, all of us.
What were your three, just
Um,
review one last time, three?
Come up with something, at least have a discussion with Joshua.
Yeah, I got that on my
There we
list.
go. Look at, I'll start on the ordinance side, you could look into the legality side of it. But I'll talk to Cannon Beach and Gerhart both and see if there's any, idea, maybe we can all become the same.
Yeah.
And, we're meeting the judge
Okay.
as one of the items. I've set this up, every third Monday. If we haven't come up with anything, I don't wanna waste your time and have a meeting, so I'll try to let you know ahead of time. The third Monday of January, for sure, there wouldn't be a meeting because that's, Martin Luther King Day. And the same, I think, probably is gonna be true in February.
So if we have stuff in the meantime, send it your way, and then that way,
Yeah, I can set
you
it
know
up.
whether we have stuff to talk about.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Do you have a couple of
I
minutes?
sure do, sir.
Uh-oh.
You got 20 minutes for the mayor to start. Go Jays!
Wow.
That's
my team.
I didn't know you were a big.
Been since the early 90s.
What?
Didn't know you were a big car buff.
Oh,
Is that on the
well,
cards?
yes.
I had so much fun putting those events on here for years.
Oh, my God, yeah, oh, yeah. Well, it started when I knew I could tell one car from another. Kind of like, oh boy, have I lost touch. There were fewer cars.
Yeah, and they were unique.
Yeah, and you could, but then I was married to a car buff and,
There you go. He's gonna be right.
and then I worked in the museum.
Yeah, you said that.
And I really miss it terribly because they, had that old